Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Portland on the Move show, the show that interacts the Town Tech Educational Partnership with the Portland Town Hall and Portland High School. This is our April show, so I hope you are all working on your taxes and get them in. I think taxes are going to be due next Tuesday, all right? I think we get a day grace period from the holiday in Massachusetts. But this is our April show, and with us this evening is the youngest town clerk in the state of Connecticut, our own Mr. Ryan Curley. And hi, Ryan, how are you?
I'm good, Dave. Thanks for having me.
Oh, thanks for coming on. Ryan actually is a product of the Portland school system. Went over to Xavier, but he is actually a graduate of Bryant University in the great state of Rhode Island. Okay, and has his degree in accounting. Okay, and Ryan also served as a member of the Board of Selectmen for 2 terms from 2011 to 2015, and was elected to town clerk actually in 2016. So, how does it feel to be the youngest town clerk in Connecticut?
Well, I had a close call last week because the Middletown now has an acting town clerk who I believe is younger than me. So my days might be numbered, Dave.
Oh boy! I think
it could be coming to an end.
You're in the record book as being the first. So
for a little while.
That's great. So anyway, so how are you adapting to the office of town clerk? I mean, you have big shoes to fill with, obviously, from with Bernie Dillon, who was an icon in town and a legend, for cripe's sake. But
still is.
And
yes.
She still is, and I'm sure that you've learned a lot from some of the things that she's done as far as that goes.
Oh, absolutely. No. Bernie set the bar pretty high for the office. So, that was... when you're starting out and you're filling, that seat that was held for so long by someone, it was a little daunting in the beginning, coming in and having those shoes to fill.
Sure.
But no, the past, I can't believe it's been over 2 years since I started now, and time's really been just flying by.
Sure.
But I've been enjoying it so far. We've done a lot of things. I've learned a lot along the way. Still have plenty to learn, but I'm enjoying it.
Well, that's good. Now, obviously your political career started, with the Board of Selectmen. Now, how did you get into, being a public servant?
Well, I always enjoyed politics back, actually, as far back as my early teens. And what happened was some mutual friends of mine, we were talking, and someone, actually it was Lauren Anderson, her father, John, was on the Board of Selectmen. And she happened to mention that he wasn't going to be running for re-election. And so I said, oh, well, if the seat's available, maybe I'll try, and run for it. And so I met with, the people to get the nominations. And, that was, that was 8 years ago now. I was 24 at the time. And back then, I didn't really know a heck of a lot. I learned a lot, from that.
Sure.
And I enjoyed being on the Board of Selectmen. We had, some good times, some late meetings.
Oh yeah, many calzones, as I remember.
Yes, that was my food of choice back then.
There you go. And obviously, Carl Chuzik, who has since passed, but has been one of your mentors as far as that goes, and getting you acclimated to the seat and how things work, and how did Carl's advice and stuff affect you?
Well, I still think about Carl almost every day. His picture is still in my office, and I don't think I would be here without Carl's help and without his support. And he was just a tremendous person, tremendous leader, and I miss him. I really do. He was a good man.
Everybody does. Everybody does. He is truly an icon too. Also, so getting into the office of town clerk. I know, obviously you came in to an established office, and obviously you saw opportunities that you could improve efficiency. So tell us a little bit about that. So.
Well, I think one of the things that helped me in the beginning and was a weakness that turned into a strength was when I started, I didn't know a lot about the job. So when I came in, I asked the question why an awful lot. Why do we do this way? Is this the easiest way to do it? And so once I learned the job, I could start to put together maybe some changes that would make life easier for our customers, our residents, and also us in the office as well. So I mean, it was a lot of baptism under fire in the beginning. I had a great deal of help from Paula, my assistant. She's been doing a phenomenal job, and you know, I think she's told me she doesn't want to have to train another clerk. So I'm hoping I'm the last one she has to train. But also Mary Dickerson,
Sure.
who you know, she was just a
She filled
big
in
help
for Bernie quite a bit.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
when she was
Yeah.
exactly. So.
Yeah, no.
Well, ironically, Paul and I grew up on the same street together, so I'm sure you've heard that story. So
I have. You guys go way back.
We go way back and so forth. Good old Perry Avenue. It's just like unbelievable. Yeah. But yeah, the office, you know, efficiencies. I know you know from a standpoint of you know you did a little rearranging, and I know you were instrumental in getting you know the new countertops and everything on the counter coming in and so forth. So
yeah. It feels like forever ago now. But when I came in, you know, I thought that the layout of the room, we could maximize space a little better, utilize different aspects of, you know, we had this big room, but the counter was in the middle of it, so you really were losing space, you know. And so by pushing that forward, we were able to, you know, move some desks, create some more space, and so we added a second search terminal for the public to use. We also have the registrars, and they have their own area, and so all that now is. You know, and Paula's got a new area as well. So all that was able to, we were able to make the office, I think, more welcoming, more, and we had a new coat of paint, and you know, that kind of stuff, just to liven it up, and
Sure.
and so you know, you want people, you want your residents to feel like. You know, they can stop by at any time, and the clerk's office is, you know, would say when I was campaigning, it's the front door of the, you know, the town.
Sure,
you know,
exactly.
And so you want people to feel at home there.
So you know, on the responsibilities of the town clerk, I mean, basically, what are your primary functions? I mean, people come in. I know you're basically the archive for vital statistics, but tell you know, what do people come to see you for?
Yeah, it varies quite a bit. A lot of people, most people don't know what the town clerks do in each town. I mean, we have a wide range of jobs that we do. What we do is everything from land records. So if you buy or sell a home in the town, all of that is recorded in our office and in the vault. So we have records as far back as 1841 when Portland was founded. And all that is stored, and essentially I'm the keeper of all these records. So so it's something that I take very seriously. Is you know, especially in this day and age with data and well, you know, I mean, we have the vital records, like you said. I mean, we have everyone's birth certificates, marriage licenses, and also death certificates as well. So all that is stored in the vault in the clerk's office.
And you also do the dog licenses.
And we also do the dog licenses.
So,
yes.
so,
You know, in the handbook it says when it comes time to register your dog that one of the clerk's jobs is to check if the dog is spayed or neutered. But you know, we like to take people's words for it.
Yeah, as far as I go. Well, I know, you know, my Town Tech program, we helped you quite a bit. I mean, in fact, prior to you getting in, we scanned a lot of the paper maps and put them in a digital format.
Absolutely.
Now, I think a lot of your deeds are being scanned now, correct?
Yeah, that's been one of the, so coming in, technology was one of the main focuses of my first term, and getting everything up to speed. And one of those things is our land records. So When I came in, we had everything from 2002 to 2015 was digitized and available online to view. And so Paula has helped me out tremendously with this, and as well as some grants and some additional help. And we've been able to scan almost 90,000 images at this point. And we're as far back, we're from 1963 to 1981 is available to view online, as well as 1995 to 2018 to the present day. So, and right now we're working to close that gap between 1981 and 1995. So that should be done within the year. And once we have that done, you don't have to do it again. That's kind of one of the benefits of it. But it's a service for our customers. They don't have to come in. The days where you had to go into the vault, pull a book, and photocopy the page are hopefully going to be over once we can continue this digitization.
Well, you get a lot of lawyers that have to do title searches, and they're sending, either they come in themselves or they send their representatives to come in and do the title search. It's time consuming, and to be able to do that and function online, okay, in the office, okay, it saves a lot of time, and as well as I do, time is money, as far
Exactly.
as far as that goes. Now, one of your other accomplishments, obviously, too, is that's been kind of one of my initiatives too from the technology department is getting the use of credit cards as a more accepted practice. Okay, and we started out with baby steps. I was able to get the credit card processing for our taxes and our water and sewer bills and so forth. But now we just added you on the roll, so people can pay for their licenses and so forth online on credit card. Correct?
Yes, and it's been great so far. That was one of our biggest complaints that we would get, because we tend to do we do a lot of marriage licenses in Portland with St. Clements, and more often than not, you have these young couples coming in, and no one carries cash on them anymore, and so. I don't know if you do, but I know I don't more often than not.
Right.
And so we'd end up having to send them to an ATM down the road, and it was just an inconvenience to people. So having that has been a great asset, I think. It's all about making the office and the town hall as convenient as possible for our residents and our customers.
Sure. Going back to, obviously to the marriage license, and obviously we have probably one of the most premier wedding venues in the state with St. Clements and so forth. How many marriages approximately do you do a year? I mean, in licenses.
Yeah, we on average we do about 160 marriage licenses every year. So that's over 320 since I started, just in just 2 years. And so I mean it's pretty cool, because you get to see people coming in, and they're I would say 99% of the time they're pretty happy, and they're getting along when they come in.
Oh yeah.
And only a couple times have I been like, "Yeah, you sure you want to do this?"
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's I know
but I know you come in all the time, and you ask for your marriage license.
Is my marriage license in yet?
I say, she's in the mail, right? She's coming any day.
Exactly. So, obviously digitizing the maps and so forth. That's a huge practice. Now, on an ongoing project, obviously, all of the new subdivisions and the building plans, okay, are those are all digitized also?
Those are all digitized, and what we did actually is now we went back and we scanned the older maps as well. So every single survey map in the town clerk's office in the vault is now digitized. It's online. It's not online, but it's on our computers, so we can print them out.
Sure.
And that's going to be actually one of an upcoming goal is to get that online, so customers can print that out as well. So we can utilize our U.S. Land Records website, and so now title searchers, once we do this, will be able to, not only can they print the deeds and the mortgages and all that, but they can print maps as well.
Sure. Now, what are your typical fees in the office as far as that goes?
Well, so it varies depending on what we're talking about. If you want to talk about recordings, It costs $60 for the first page to file on the land records, and then it's $5 for each additional page, unless it's a MERS recording, which is a type of mortgage, and that starts at $159. But fees for dog licenses, they start at $8 for spayed and neutered dogs, and it's $19 if the dog is not fixed. And marriage licenses are $30, and then so any birth certificate, any marriage license copy, and any death certificate copy, those are all $20. Those are all vital records, and the state sets our pricing. So a lot of people don't realize that we have to charge $1 a page to copy. We have to charge a set amount for fishing licenses, and I know we have several residents that aren't too happy about the state raising the fishing license. That we have a trout stamp this year that a lot of our seniors aren't too pleased about because they now have to pay an extra $5, whereas last year and up until now it's been free for seniors over 65.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So now, I mean, it's only $5, but again, the state sets those prices. So,
right.
And we just have to go by what they say, because we don't get to keep the money either. That goes for, a fishing license costs $32. And do you know how much money the town of Portland gets from that $32?
How much?
We get $1.
$1.
So $1. So at the end of the month, I'll see a sell $500 worth of licenses, and Portland gets $15 maybe. Of that amount.
I think we got to renegotiate that.
I think we should. I think it's a terrible trade deal.
Exactly.
It's a terrible deal. We should renegotiate.
Exactly. Now, when people come in, obviously doing title searches and so forth, and they make copies, it's they pay, what's it, $1 a page to
It's
make
$1. Yes.
$1 a page.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, if people go online to do that, how does that work now?
Well, what a neat thing about Portland is that the images are free to view online. So you can look up anything as long as it's in that date range that I gave you before.
Correct.
Those images are online and they're free to view.
Okay.
If you want to print from home, it's $2 a page.
Okay.
And so what ends up happening a lot of times is title searchers will print from home. It's more convenient to them. But at the same time, it's twice as expensive. So sometimes they'd rather, if they have to print a lot, they'll come in. And you'd be amazed, some of these title searchers have to print out quite a bit of pages.
Sure.
And that's all. That's revenue for the town. That we get to keep.
So how does that payment online take place now? Is when they go to print the page, a payment box comes up?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes, U.S. Land Records, and there's a link on portlandct.org right on the main page, and so anyone can view their deed to their property if they own property in town, or their mortgage, or check and see if any liens have been filed against them. That's all available and free to view online. So, and then if you want to print, the payment box comes up, and you can enter in your credit card information.
Sure.
So, and that's kind of one of the things that we're going to be working on, and that one of my goals in the future is, now that we have credit cards, there's a lot of different uses that we can use credit cards for. Now I'm getting phone calls from former residents that live in Florida. They're retired, and for whatever reason, they now need a copy of their birth certificate. And now, as long as they email me a copy of their driver's license, I can take their credit card information over the phone and have that license out to them the same day. Whereas before, we would have to wait for the mail, and I'd have to wait for their check to get here.
Snail mail, yes, exactly.
Yes, exactly.
So, all right, well, that's great, Ryan. Before we start talking more about the future things, we're going to take a little station identification break, and I think, Kevin, why don't we do the airline trail? One of the things that is going to be coming up in the very near future, I think we're going to be having a dedication ceremony of the trailhead on Middle Haddam Road. And that's going to be coming up. The Airline Trail Committee has done a phenomenal job putting that project together, and the Airline Trail is complete. It will be from the Depot Hill East Hampton town line all the way into I think it's Butler Construction. I think as far as that goes.
You're right. Yeah.
And there's going to be a trailhead out on with a parking lot out on Middle Haddam Road. We did a a ribbon cutting out there, I think a little over a month and a half ago.
Oh, did you do that? Okay.
Yeah, and so forth, where they had the ribbon cutting and for the construction. I think the construction is winding down, so putting the trail dust down and all of that kind of stuff. So anyway, we're going to play a little bit of a little history of the Airline Trail. And the Airline Trail, if you're not familiar with it, actually goes from Portland through East Hampton. There's a little section in East Hampton under 66 that is impassable, but from there it actually goes all the way through to Colchester and beyond. So almost to Willimantic. So you're going to see a little bit of the history of the Airline Trail and our contribution to the Portland piece of that. So anyway, take it away.
Used to be a train track, now it's the Airline Trail.
Welcome to the Airline State Park Trail. The trail is open year-round from dawn to dusk. The Deep website has maps, information on places to access the trail, and mileage between access points. There you will also find information about where to park, including the number of parking spaces available at each location, and whether there is room for horse trailers. All types of non-motorized recreation are allowed on the trail. This means that you may encounter horses during your visit. Always give horses the right of way. If you are approaching from the rear, let the rider know and ask if it is safe to pass to avoid startling the animal. This will ensure safe passage for yourself and the horse and rider.
The horse is going to do me more harm than I could do the horse, and I stay out of the way.
It's just sort of common sense to give the horse and rider the right of way.
Bicyclists should always give way for pedestrians and other non-motorized trail users. Connecticut state law requires helmets for children under 12 on bicycles. It is always a good idea to carry a tire repair kit. There are often miles between access points, and the trail passes through rural areas lacking services. Dogs should always be on a leash and under the owner's control. Work continues to improve the Airline Trail, but there are still a few gaps. In these cases, on-road detours can reconnect you with the finished sections of the trail. See the Deep website for details. The Airline State Park Trail is unpaved. Much of the trail consists of smooth gravel paths, but there are rutted and rocky areas, and some parts of the trail tend to be wet and muddy. Check the Deep website for information on the trail surface.
All right, so
Use caution when crossing any road. At Trailheads,
register online.
park where there is enough room
Yeah,
to be
they were
safely
gonna. Not yet.
off-road.
No, that's one. It was the
Don't
goal.
park in front of gates.
Also,
This is important to allow easy access
we have,
for emergency
e-recordings
vehicles.
too, which we're one of the few towns down in
Water,
the state to have
sanitary
that.
facilities,
Some stuff,
and waste receptacles are not
what else I
available on
got?
the trail.
Oh, wait, want to talk about the
Be
elections?
sure to
that
bring
we got
enough
this
water
year
and
with
food
the
with you, and
governor's
carry
race
out what
coming
you've
up.
carried
Yeah,
also.
I think we'll talk about your role.
To report problems on the
the
trail,
elections,
or
yeah.
if you'd like
That
to
sounds good,
volunteer
yeah.
to help maintain the trail,
And also,
contact the
maybe we
Deep
can even
Trail
get some
Manager
feedback
or your
on
local
calls
trail
about,
group.
the polling place at the high school and that kind of stuff. So, I mean, 'cause, the move.
Let the Airline State Park Trail take you places, and enjoy your visit.
Used to be a train track, now it's the Airline Trail.
Welcome to the Airline State Park Trail. The Airline Trail is a 50-mile rail trail in eastern Connecticut with numerous access points for non-motorized recreation and is open daily from dawn to dusk. The trail currently starts in East Hampton Village, once known as Belltown, because of the presence of more than 30 bell manufacturing companies, making it the bell capital of the country. You can start or end your trail visit in the village with a nice cup of coffee, pizza, or ice cream, visit the farmer's market, browse antique shops and boutiques, or take in nearby cultural and historic sites. Follow the trail east across the handicap-accessible bridge towards the next major access at Cranberry Bog. The Cranberry Bog is one of the most popular access points, and this section of the trail is heavily used. Look for picturesque ponds with picnic tables, woodland benches to rest on, dramatic rock cuts, side trails like this one maintained by the Middlesex Land Trust, and the Rapallo Viaduct. An interpretive sign provides historic and factual information about the viaduct.
I use the trail 3 to 4 times a week with the rest of my friends here. We start at Cranberry Bog and we stop at the viaduct where the benches are, so then we can take a bit of a short sit, and then we turn around there and walk back.
It's a great environment. It's a great trail. It's nice and flat, you know, and the crushed stone is perfect for strollers, and it's good walking or jogging.
From East Hampton, the trail continues into Colchester. Soon after crossing into town, visitors come upon one of the most significant features on the trail, the Lyman Viaduct. Built in 1873, it was originally constructed of wrought iron and measured more than 1,100 feet across and 137 feet high. In 1913, the valley was filled and the entire trestle was covered, resulting in the structure that we see today. Both the Lyman and Rapallo viaducts are on the National Register of Historic Places. Close to where the trail crosses Bull Hill Road, there are a number of attractions within a short bike or car ride. Visitors can step off the trail to enjoy great views of this stone arch bridge from below on River Road. The bridge is on both the national and state registers of historic places. The trail passes over the Blackledge River on this bridge, using the original stone abutments and metal supports built for the railroad. Just after the trail crosses River Road, visitors can stop to enjoy the views at Norton Pond.
I live in Essex and I come out to the airline trail as much as I can. Any season of the year, I like being here because it's so beautiful and it's so easy. It's really fabulous.
One of the fun things about discovering a new place like this is that I now want to go back and tell other people and bring people with me.
It is one of the most beautiful places close to my home. All the trail for me is beautiful, and because being able to jog, to walk, and enjoying the beauty.
It's a great surface for walking or biking. Beautiful views, you can see wildlife. It's all here.
From Colchester, the trail enters into Hebron, where visitors cross the Jeremy River on this bridge. Nearby, the Jeremy and Blackledge rivers join together to form the headwaters of the Salmon River. Soon after, visitors cross Judd Brook on this bridge. Just off the trail, visitors can pause to enjoy the waterfall in Grayville Falls Town Park, dip their toes, fish in the river, or picnic in the park. Just past Old Colchester Road, the trail passes through the extensive Raymond Brook Marsh, a statewide wetland of special concern that offers expansive views and opportunities to observe birds and other wildlife. Just after the marsh, the airline trail in Hebron connects with the Colchester Spur that formerly brought people and freight into downtown Colchester. Follow the spur to the end where historic twin railroad depots are still in use by local businesses and look much the same as they did when the railroad was in operation. Drop by some of the many shops and restaurants in downtown Colchester or grab a burger and shake at the iconic Harry's Place roadside stand on Route 16. Back in Hebron, the trail continues across Route 85 towards Lebanon.
Today is our first day on the airline trail. We come from Gales Ferry, Connecticut. Everywhere we've gone, there's babbling brooks and meadows, and it's just gorgeous.
We're just really soaking up all the sun and the beautiful sights. And we found it on the DEEP website with trail maps. It was easy to find. The trails are gravel and they're smooth, and it makes for a nice day out on the bikes.
Shortly after the trail crosses Route 207, a pond with surrounding wetlands offers opportunities for bird and wildlife viewing. The pond serves as the town line between Hebron and Lebanon. Visitors interested in expanding on their trail experience might enjoy a visit to Lebanon's mile-long town green with its wealth of historic sites. The green is 7 miles from the Route 207 trail crossing and about 3 miles from the Route 87 trail crossing. East of Route 87, the trail crosses over a small stream, offering a scenic view and additional wildlife viewing opportunities. This farm, where the trail crosses Cook Hill Road, is one of the more scenic spots on the trail. Past the farm, the wetland just off the trail to the right is a magnet for birds and serves as a heron rookery, with the nests resembling truffula trees from Dr. Seuss's classic tale of the Lorax. The trail continues across Kingsley Road, but ends at the Willimantic River, where the former railroad bridge is currently unpassable and awaiting restoration. Visitors can rejoin the trail using an on-road route through downtown Willimantic.
My wife and I come to the airline trail lately daily since I'm retired. I like that it's relatively flat and we can do something like, I don't want to call it a power walk, but it's not like you have to step over 10,000 things.
I'm newly retired, so I'm finally getting out to enjoy this trail every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. It's great. And we just love it because we don't have to worry about vehicles. And at the same time, we get to have great fellowship and catch up with each other. It's just so peaceful and serene. So we go home and we feel great. We did our thing of the day.
From Lebanon, the trail continues over the on-road detour into Windham. Just before crossing the railroad tracks approaching Route 66, visitors may wish to stop at the Railroad Museum and hitch a ride on the last continually operating section of the airline railroad.
This is a restoration of the Columbia Junction facility. It was built in 1898 and it was rebuilt in 2000. If you're using the airline trail, come in and visit us. We're open from 10 to 4 Saturdays and Sundays, and we'd love to have you come in and visit a while.
Take advantage of the wide range of restaurants, coffee shops, historic and cultural opportunities that Willimantic has to offer.
We're exactly opposite the famous Frog Bridge. The frogs were a symbol of Willimantic based on, in the early to mid 1700s, there was a commotion in Windham and the residents thought they were under attack, but it turned out it was a pond that had dried up with hundreds and hundreds of bullfrogs making a lot of noise. And the spools on the bridge represent the American Thread Company that began here making thread for industries all over the world.
Across from the Frog Bridge, reconnect with the airline trail by hopping on the Veterans Greenway. Then cross Route 66, where the airline trail begins again along Tuckey Road. Near the entrance to this section of the airline trail, the marsh offers wildlife viewing opportunities, including nesting great blue herons. Also look for evidence of beaver activity here. Atlantic white cedar swamps, like this one protected by the Joshua's Trust, are a critical habitat type in Connecticut. Near where the trail crosses Beaver Hill Road, close to the junction with Route 6, visitors can take a walk or bike ride over Mansfield Hollow Dam for great views of the lake. After Windham, the trail passes through the quiet little town of Chaplin. Shortly after crossing into Chaplin, this loop allows visitors to explore land trust property next to the trail. These rock cuts are evidence of some of the extensive blasting needed to create a level grade for the Airline Railroad.
I like being out in the country, the woods, looking at the old bridges, the old tunnels along the different trails. It's just nice being out here.
From Chaplin, the trail continues into Hampton. Just after the junction of Parker and South Brook Roads, this abandoned bridge still stands as a relic of the railroad era. At Potter Road, visitors can spend time at the Goodwin State Forest, a 2,000-acre property with 3 ponds, 14 miles of trails, native wildlife gardens, educational signs, and nature programs. The Natchog Trail, part of the state's Blue Trail system, crosses the Airline Trail near the James L. Goodwin Conservation Center, offering visitors opportunities to explore smaller, more rugged footpaths. This section of the trail features a variety of beautiful wetlands. After the Estabrook Road crossing, stone walls below the trail seem mysteriously to disappear into this wetland. The rising waters reflect the presence of some busy beavers. Soon after, the trail passes through the middle of an extensive pond and wetland, where even novices will have good luck with bird watching and may even spot a beaver. It is interesting to note the diversity in wetland types present along the trail, like this one just past Griffin Road. Less than 1/10 of a mile along Kenyon Road is the entrance to Hampton Reservoir, offering opportunities for fishing, non-motorized boating, and wildlife viewing. Audubon's Trail Wood Sanctuary, the former home of writer-naturalist Edwin Way Teal, is nearby. From the town of Hampton, the trail crosses into Pomfret. Soon after Brooklyn Road is this stunning wet meadow. White pines almost form a tunnel over the trail. East of Covell Road, a climb down a steep hill rewards visitors with unique views of this stone culvert built to carry the railroad over Mashmucket Brook. Near the intersection of routes 44 and 169, Pomfret Station serves as a start or end point for your trail experience or simply as a rest stop. East of the Needles Eye Road Junction is Audubon's 700-acre Bafflin Sanctuary and Grassland Bird Conservation Center. It is an important bird area because of the rare grass and shrub habitats. The center regularly offers nature education programs and has over 10 miles of trails with educational signs. More than 200 different bird species have been spotted here. The improved section of the Airline Trail currently ends at Wright's Crossing Road. To continue into Putnam, follow one of the on-road detours.
Hey, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. And that is our little synopsis of the Airline Trail. And again, we'll be doing a ribbon cutting for the Airline Trail in another month or so, okay, which is going to be out in the on the Middle Haddam Road section of Portland and right behind the Winchester Cafe. So stay tuned for that. That's going to be an exciting event, and that will open up some opportunities to extend that trail right into Portland. So again, welcome to the Portland on the Move show. With us this evening is our town clerk, Mr. Ryan Curley, who is actually the youngest town clerk in the state of Connecticut. And again, Ryan, thanks for coming on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's good to be here, Dave.
So talking about some more goals. Okay, we're
Yeah.
also going to be opening up our phone lines if you have any questions for Ryan. Right here live at the Comcast studio over on the Shunpike Road, Route 3, and the number is on your screen, which is basically 613-3031. If you have a question for Ryan, feel free to call in, and we'll hopefully you can field some phone calls for you. So anyway, getting on to some future goals, Ryan, I know one of the things that is on your to-do list, obviously, is to become a certified municipal clerk. So How does that work?
Yeah, it's a big year for me because I have a test in June that I have to take and pass in order to become a certified municipal clerk. And I'm actually lucky to be able to take the test this year. The clerks, there's an association of clerks, and there's 169 towns in Connecticut, and every town has its own clerk. And there's an organization, and they have a leadership board, and they've made this certification process so you have qualified city clerks and town clerks. And so they actually had changed the rules in the years past, and it had gotten harder and harder to become a certified town clerk. One of the things is you can't even take the test unless you've been a clerk for, and you've been on the job for over 2.5 years. And so the test is always in June. And because most clerks start their terms in January, like myself, I think they did that so you would miss that first June test because 2.5 years would have been July. So when I first started, I was under the impression I wouldn't be able to take the test until June of 2019. And so that would be right before next election. So that would be one shot. I'd have one chance to take the test. And if I didn't pass it, well, then I wasn't certified. But what ended up happening was some leadership reread some rules, and it turns out that the state legislature back in, I believe, 1998 had basically written a law that made them the authority for this certification process. So all the rules that the clerks had made and changed up until from 1998 until 2018 didn't mean anything. So that whole 2.5 year in June went back to 2 years. And so I'm able to take the test in June of this year.
Good.
So yeah, it works out for me.
That works out very good. Also, one of the things from a standpoint, I think Portland is one of the few towns that you said that has e-recording. Tell us a little about that.
Yeah, that was one of our first accomplishments that we got on board a little over a year ago now. And prior to credit cards was this e-recording. And it's kind of the future. It's the way towns are going. And what this does is, you don't need to bring in a title searcher with a deed and record a property. You can now submit a mortgage, a release, all electronically. So it comes right to our computer with a payment. And so we're able to receive the payment and also the document and file that on the land records without any paper, without us actually having to file. And I love it because it's quick, it's easy, and it cuts down for us on postage. I mean, a lot of I constantly look at ways that we can save money in the office, and postage is one of those things that if we can email it, I'd prefer to do it that way. Unfortunately, we deal with vital records and documents and I'll get calls from people that want me to email them their marriage license. And that's just not how it works. It has to have a raised seal in order for it to be a valid document. And so I have to explain to people that, no, I can't just send you your marriage license
via email.
Via email, yeah. Happens more often than not.
I'm sure. Also, from a standpoint of your role, you play a pretty vital role as far as in the election process. So how does that work now?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I started back in 2016, and one of the looming tasks at the time was the presidential election, and we were anticipating an extremely high voter turnout, and we got it. And I'm pretty proud to say we had over 86% voter turnout in Portland in the 2016 presidential election, which I think is phenomenal to get that. But with that comes a lot of responsibility for myself and the registrars of voters. Now you have the two registrars, Pauline and Athena. They really run the election process. It's kind of their show, and I'm in a supportive role for that. We did work closely with Susan, myself, and them, and to change the polling location because with that big turnout came where are we going to put them? How are they going to be able to park, get to the polls safely, and get home safely? And the Waverly, the senior center, just wasn't going to cut it with all those people and all that parking. So we looked at all our options. We looked at where else could we go that could accommodate that number of people safely and efficiently. And we ultimately landed on the middle school, high school at 93,
95, yeah,
High Street.
yeah.
Yep. And so we had a great turnout. We had a lot of people. We learned a lot from that election. There were things that we could have done more efficiently, I think, at the time. But overall, I mean, it was a successful election. Everyone was able to vote. Their votes counted. They were in, and they were out, and they were on their way. And I mean, we had some lines when we had to open up. Right at 6 a.m., you should have seen the lines. I'm not sure if you were there for that, but I mean, they were wrapped around, and it's a good thing we bought those stanchions because we needed to keep everybody, filed and in order and all that.
Sure. Well, I know for years. I mean, growing up in town, the initial polling place was. Right now is known as the Brownstone Intermediate School, but back in the day it was the high school, or the middle school, and they used to have it in the gymnasium down there, and obviously with all of the new handicap accessibility rules, that became inadequate, and just give it a little chronology. Then the polling place went to the library. And we kind of outgrew that, or they felt that the senior center might be a better option, and now obviously it's migrated up to the high school. You've got obviously a much more expansive parking area. You've got handicap accessibility, plus, and in fact of I think the presidential election, you've got a way to keep people inside, in the hallways rather than having them lined around the building like we were doing it down at the senior center as far as that goes. So it worked out. And as far as the from a technology standpoint, we were able to, with our robust fiber network, we were able to push the Secretary of State's network up to the high school, so the registrars could access the Secretary of State's database, in Hartford. So that worked out very well as far as that goes. Now, also, obviously the elections are every 2 years. So now, last year, 2 years ago, that was the town election, correct?
Well, this past November, we actually have elections every year. Odd years are municipal elections, so that's where we elect our board of selectmen, our local leaders, like our first selectman, and all that, Board of Education. That's on odd years, and even years is the state or national level. So this coming year, we have a U.S. senator, we have a governor, and we have all the top leadership in the state legislature and all that. So I mean, with that, this year is going to be another busy year for us. I mean, people, I think, are a lot of people are looking forward to being able to elect a new governor this year on both sides of the aisle. And there's a lot of candidates running. And I anticipate us having two primaries, one for the Republicans and one for the Democrats. They'll be on the same day, though. And then also we have the general election in November. As well, we have a budget referendum every year in May, too. So, I mean, that's really 3 or 4 elections, depending on how you want to look at it, that are taking place this year. And we have to be ready for each and every one of those. So it's a process, and there's a lot of work. There's a lot of good people that go into it. This past year, on the municipal side, we had such a close election that we actually had to have a mandatory recount the Friday after the election. So on Veterans Day of this year, a lot of the poll workers were back at the town clerk's office recounting all of the votes, because there were only maybe 6 votes, I think, that separated someone on the Board of Education, and maybe 19 or so, 20-something votes on the Board of Selectmen. I mean, it was an extremely close election year in Portland this past November.
Now, what's the criteria for having an automatic recount?
I believe it's half a percentage point or less than 20 votes. There's a threshold. There's one or the other. have to double check on that, but I know it's half a percentage point.
Okay, wow, okay. And then obviously, the budget referendum, that's going to be in May. I think it's on the agenda for tomorrow night's selectmen's meeting to vote on the budget. Okay.
Yeah.
So that is going to be, I think, the charge for tomorrow night's Board of Selectmen meeting, as far as that goes. I know they've worked very hard with their budget deliberations and budget workshops the past couple of weeks. In fact, I just brought over a lot of the DVDs and recordings for the budget workshop. So if you'd like to see those, they're going to be running online on Comcast over here, and also they are uploaded to our Portland. Our YouTube channel, which is YouTube/Portland Con, CONNN. So we go from there. So anyway, our phone lines are open if you'd like to call in and have a question for Ryan. The number's on your screen, which is 860-613-3031. But anyway, with us this evening is our illustrious town clerk, Mr. Ryan Curley. And is it true? I hear that you might be buying a house. Is that right?
Yes, I am in the market. I'm looking. But,
wow. Okay.
I have to live in Portland, though. That's one of the rules of the. When you're elected, you have to live in the town that you represent. So,
absolutely.
Yeah, but I'm looking, and there's some good houses on the market. So I'm sure
there you go.
I'll find something. I don't know.
For sure.
If not, I'll just, I can go to your place. Right?
Absolutely.
There you go.
I have an apartment for rent. So,
hey, that's right.
That's right.
Yes, you do. That's right.
So they go from there.
Man.
I think from the initiatives for this year, are there any other outstanding goals that you have on your to-do list from a standpoint of?
Yeah, I kind of, there's so much. When I started, there were so many different things that you could tackle first. I really try to prioritize and have a list of, okay, we're going to do credit cards. Getting credit cards was a priority. Once I got that, then I can focus on more digitization, getting our land records. And so as we go along, I kind of am trying to check off these boxes so that at first everything seems monumental, but if you break everything down, it's not so bad. So my goals are, like I said before, is first we're going to get all our land records online. My goal is 1963 to 2018, but I would like to go back a little bit further than that, but prior to 1968, and I'd like to have 50 years. 50 years digitized, maybe, and probably a little more.
Sure.
Because that's what title searchers use. They go back about 50 years.
Okay.
And then we have our DD-214s, and I don't know if you know it, those are military discharge papers. So anytime a resident is discharged from the military, they file their paperwork with us in the town clerk's office, and it's just another one of the vital records that we hold on to. And more often than not, we'll get calls from residents or former residents, and sometimes when they pass away, in order to have a funeral, a military funeral, they need that paperwork. So it's really important that we have that and we have it accessible. And it's all in the vault now, but one of my goals is to digitize the index to make it much more easier to find.
Sure.
Right now you should see these books that we have. They're very, some of them are very old, and and each book is a different date range, and it can be difficult to find quickly the paperwork that you're looking for. So I'd like to digitize that. I'd also like to do that with our trade name certificates. That's something that we do as well that gets filed with us. And in addition, one of the things that I'm also very proud of that we've done is the clerk is responsible for holding all of the town meeting minutes, all of our board minutes. So any meeting that happens in town, the record of that meeting is held in the town clerk's vault.
Sure.
And so one of the things that I did was our Board of Selectmen minutes from 1944 until now are now all digitized, and they're all searchable. So you can actually use this program and say you wanted to look up anytime Dave Kosminski said anything at a meeting. I can search your name, and everything, or your father, will just pop up, and
Really?
I can. And so that's made, and from a preservation standpoint, I think having that is just another safeguard. I mean, my goal is to make sure that we have backup, just, you know, and
Sure.
God forbid any disaster or anything.
Oh, yeah,
You want to be able to keep those records safe. I mean,
Absolutely.
and so having that and making that accessible is just another tool. And I would like to continue to do that to our other minutes. Like we have our zoning board of appeals and our planning and zoning, and eventually I'd like all of those to be backed up and digitized,
Sure.
so that they're accessible, and then we can, you know, get those online and
Go from there, sure.
and go from there. Yeah.
Well, I know after, you know, each one of our selectmen's meetings are recorded and are brought over here and played on the Comcast network, okay, those originals are brought back to you, and you store those in the vault. So, you know, they are available in the vault also, as well as they're on YouTube.
I know, surprisingly, we don't get too many people asking to view those.
Everybody goes online on YouTube now.
I know, everybody's
Anyway.
on YouTube.
Well, Ryan, hey, thanks so much for coming on. I was very, very enlightening, and to have you come on our Portland on the Move show. And again, we'll probably, as things progress in the town clerk's department, we'll probly have you on again sometime
Well, I
soon.
hope so, Dave.
That'd be
Thank
great.
you.
So, anyway, our Portland on the Move show is again in an ever a collaborative partnership between the town hall and Portland High School, and our Portland on the Move show airs on the first Tuesday of every month. Now, this is actually the second Tuesday because the studio was closed because of the Easter holiday last week, but we air here live at the Comcast studio at 199 Shunpike, live at 7 to 8 on the first Tuesday. So if you'd like to be on the show, give me a call at the town hall, email me, and would love to have you on and to go from there. So from all of us here at Portland on the Move, we will see you next month, and have a happy spring, and don't forget to get those taxes filed for next week. All right? Thanks so much.